home could feel like a place where time slows down, where every corner whispers elegance, and where vintage beauty meets soft, romantic comfort. In today's video, we're stepping into the enchanting world of old money vintage home decor and romantic cottage interiors, a style that feels timeless, graceful, and deeply lived in. Think heirloom furniture, delicate florals, antique mirrors, soft linen curtains, collected treasures, and cozy spaces that look straight out of a European countryside estate. If you love vintage home decor ideas, cottagecore interiors, and luxury cozy homes, you're in exactly the right place. So settle in, grab a cup of tea, and let this be your invitation to create a home that feels rich in beauty, character, and soul. Before we dive in, here's the magic of this aesthetic. Old money decor isn't about showing off wealth. It's about creating the feeling of quiet refinement, history, and inherited beauty. And when that elegance is softened with romantic cottage interior design, the result is irresistible. It's polished without being cold, luxurious without being flashy, and charming without looking overdone. That's exactly why so many homeowners and decor lovers are moving away from overly modern, sterile spaces and embracing rooms that feel layered, personal, and full of story. Designers in 2026 are leaning into warmer palettes, collected vintage pieces, florals, antiques, and found luxury over showroom perfection. And trust me, the details we're about to explore may completely change how you decorate forever. Every beautiful romantic cottage home begins with the right palette, and this style absolutely thrives on soft, muted, sophisticated tones. Think creamy whites, warm ivories, dusty rose, faded sage, antique blue, mushroom taupe, buttery beige, muted olive, and soft greige. These colors instantly create the feeling of age, gentleness, and understated luxury. Instead of harsh contrast, aim for tones that melt into one another like an old oil painting. This is the secret to achieving that old money aesthetic home look without making the room feel heavy or formal. Warm neutrals, moody greens, chocolate browns, and vintage-inspired color drenching are especially relevant right now, while icy grays and overly cool neutrals are falling out of favor. When your palette feels calm and storied, everything else in the room begins to look more expensive and intentional. If you want your home to feel truly timeless, antique and vintage furniture is where the transformation begins. A curved French armchair, a weathered writing desk, an ornate sideboard, a carved wood mirror, or a skirted love seat can instantly anchor your space in elegance. The beauty of vintage home decor is that these pieces bring craftsmanship, patina, and depth that newer furniture often lacks. The goal isn't to fill your home with museum pieces, it's to mix just enough age and authenticity into your decor so the room feels collected rather than purchased all at once. Antique storage pieces are especially valuable because they're beautiful and functional, making them perfect investments for this look. A single well-chosen vintage piece can make an entire room feel elevated, storied, and unforgettable. One of the most irresistible parts of romantic cottage interiors is the softness. This is not a style that rushes. It invites you in with tactile beauty, washed linen bedding, ruffled pillowcases, lace-trimmed tablecloths, embroidered cushions, quilted throws, and even velvet accent chairs. Fabric is where this style becomes emotional. It turns a room from pretty into comforting. Layering textiles is also one of the easiest ways to create that cozy old money cottage aesthetic without spending a fortune. Mix faded florals with stripes, soft solids with delicate trim, and slightly mismatched textures that feel inherited over time. Designers are embracing nostalgic linens, gingham, and vintage-inspired bedding in a major way because they create warmth, softness, and personality. If you've ever wanted your home to feel like a love letter to slow living, this is where that feeling begins. Let's talk about florals, because no romantic vintage home decor style is complete without them. But the key here is tasteful restraint. We're not creating a themed tea room, we're building elegance. Choose floral wallpaper in soft faded tones, botanical prints in antique frames, floral drapery panels, or even one beautifully upholstered accent chair in a heritage-inspired pattern. Florals work best in this style when they feel archival, painterly, and slightly time-worn. Think English cottage garden rather than bright spring explosion. Florals and botanical motifs are one of the strongest vintage-led design directions right now because they add softness, memory, and timeless charm to interiors. And when paired with wood, brass, and linen, florals suddenly feel not only romantic, but deeply sophisticated. there's one detail that can make a room feel instantly more luxurious and cinematic, it's lighting. Old money home decor loves layered light. A crystal chandelier overhead, pleated lampshades on side tables, a soft buffet lamp in the corner, wall sconces by a mirror, and candlelight flickering in the evening. Romantic interiors are never lit with just one overhead bulb. That's a crime against ambience. This style is about mood, shadow, warmth, and glow. Vintage and Murano-style glass lighting, sculptural lamps, and antique-inspired fixtures are especially relevant in the current design conversation because they bring artistry and softness to a room. When the lighting is right, even the simplest room begins to feel like a page from a classic novel. One of the most overlooked details in elegant home decor is the treatment of windows. Bare windows almost always make a room feel unfinished, especially if you're trying to create a romantic, collected interior. Long linen curtains, sheer panels, tiebacks, lace cafe curtains, and even subtle swags can soften architecture and bring instant grace to the room. The goal is to make your windows feel dressed, not exposed. Curtains should puddle slightly when possible, and the fabric should feel airy and luxurious rather than stiff. This simple styling move adds movement, softness, and that gentle old-world feeling that defines romantic cottage interiors. Once you start paying attention to windows, you'll realize they can completely transform the mood of a space and make it feel far more finished and expensive. Now here's where the real personality comes in, styling your surfaces with intention. One of the hallmarks of old money vintage decor is that nothing feels empty or sterile. Coffee tables, mantels, consoles, bedside tables, and bookshelves should feel thoughtfully lived in. Stack a few beautiful books, add a brass candle holder, a small porcelain dish, framed art, dried roses, a vintage clock, or a little ceramic lamp. The trick is balance, enough detail to tell a story, but not so much that the room feels chaotic. The modern design world is moving away from over-minimalized spaces and embracing homes with character, collected objects, and emotional texture. This is where your home stops looking decorated and starts feeling deeply personal. is something undeniably magical about a well-placed antique mirror. Whether it's gilded, distressed, oval, arched, or ornately carved, mirrors are essential in timeless vintage interiors because they reflect light while adding depth, elegance, and visual romance. A gold-framed mirror above a mantel, a Trumeau mirror in the dining room, or a petite vintage vanity mirror on a dresser can all bring that quiet luxury home decor feeling into your space. The secret is to use gilded accents sparingly but intentionally, just enough to catch the eye and create softness. When mixed with warm neutrals, floral patterns, wood tones, and candlelight, mirrors become more than functional. They become atmosphere. And atmosphere, in this style, is everything. A truly romantic home doesn't stop at the living room. The kitchen deserves just as much beauty. To create an old money cottage kitchen, think open shelves with ironstone dishes, floral tea towels, vintage canisters, wood cutting boards, brass hooks, scalloped trays, and maybe even a little lamp on the counter. This is where utility becomes charming. The best romantic interiors make daily rituals feel beautiful. Brewing tea, baking bread, arranging flowers, setting the table. Soft country-inspired details, porcelain pieces, nostalgic textiles, and decorative kitchen accents are all rising in popularity because people are craving homes that feel warm and personal again. A cottage kitchen should feel like the heart of the home, not just a place to cook. If there is one room where this style truly shines, it is the bedroom. A romantic cottage bedroom should feel restful, dreamy, and layered with softness. Think an upholstered or carved headboard, vintage nightstands, a pleated lampshade, crisp white bedding, a floral quilt, a lace throw, and maybe a small bouquet by the bedside. This room should feel like a retreat from the modern world. One of the most effective ways to create that luxury vintage bedroom look is to layer your bed generously: quilts, coverlets, Euro pillows, decorative cushions, and textures that invite you to sink in and stay a while. The more your bedroom feels like a sanctuary, the more successful this aesthetic becomes. It's not just about beauty, it's about emotional comfort. something deeply beautiful about a dining room that feels ready for candlelit dinners, slow breakfasts, and meaningful conversation. To create that old money dining room charm, focus on timeless pieces, a dark wood table, upholstered dining chairs, a vintage hutch, silver candlesticks, delicate china, framed art, and perhaps a tablecloth that feels slightly formal in the loveliest way. Romantic cottage dining isn't about perfection, it's about grace. Even if your dining area is small, you can still create that mood with styling alone. Add fresh flowers, linen napkins, a small lamp, or antique serving pieces. When a dining room feels intentional and warm, it encourages people to linger. And that lingering, unhurried feeling is the essence of this entire decorating style. If your walls feel empty, this is your sign to stop relying only on generic modern prints. Old money vintage interiors come alive through artwork that feels storied and personal. Landscapes, botanical sketches, still life paintings, black and white portraits, equestrian art, pressed florals, antique oil paintings, and gilded frames all add depth and soul. Even thrifted art can look exquisite when grouped thoughtfully. The key is to curate rather than match. Gallery walls in this style should feel like they evolved over time, not like they came from a single shopping cart. When you fill your walls with art that feels collected and romantic, your home starts to gain the visual richness that defines timeless cottage elegance. One of the most powerful lessons in decorating is this: perfection often looks cheaper than character. The most beautiful vintage-inspired homes are full of patina, aged wood, slightly worn brass, faded upholstery, time-softened paint, antique books, and pieces that look like they've lived a life before arriving in your home. This is what makes old money home styling so appealing. It doesn't chase flawless. It values authenticity. That's also why found luxury is resonating so strongly right now. People are craving homes with story, memory, and soul instead of showroom polish. If you've been afraid of a little wear and age, this style gives you permission to see it not as a flaw, but as beauty. Now, if you're worried your home might start looking too themed or overly antique, here's the solution: balance. The most successful romantic cottage interiors mix old and new in a way that feels natural and refined. Pair an antique side table with a newer sofa. Style vintage brass candlesticks on a cleaner, modern mantel. Add a contemporary rug beneath a traditional dining table. Use modern functionality, but wrap it in timeless beauty. This is exactly why this style works so well for today's homes. It doesn't ask you to live in the past. It simply borrows the most beautiful parts of it. The result is a home that feels current, but never trendy. Elegant, but still livable. Styled, but still warm. Here's the good news. You do not need a trust fund to create the old money vintage home decor look. In fact, some of the most beautiful spaces are built slowly and affordably over time. Thrift stores, flea markets, estate sales, antique malls, Facebook Marketplace, and even family hand-me-downs can become treasure troves for this style. Look for quality materials: solid wood, brass, porcelain, linen, glass, and carved details. Skip anything that looks too trendy or mass-produced. Start small with mirrors, lamps, frames, candlesticks, trays, books, and textiles. The secret isn't spending more, it's choosing better. When you decorate with patience and intention, your home naturally begins to feel more layered, more romantic, and infinitely more expensive. This might be the most important idea in the entire video. Don't just decorate for aesthetics, decorate for feeling. Ask yourself how you want each room to make you feel. Peaceful? Inspired? Feminine? Elegant? Rested? Safe? The reason romantic cottage home decor is so beloved is because it taps into emotion. It makes a house feel nurturing. It creates beauty around ordinary life. A reading corner with a lamp and a quilt. A bedside tray with a candle and a book. Fresh flowers on the kitchen table. A chair by the window. These little moments matter. They transform decor into atmosphere, and atmosphere into memory. And honestly, that is what truly luxurious decorating has always been about. you're loving these old money decorating ideas and feeling inspired to romanticize your home, this is the perfect moment to invite your viewers deeper into the conversation. You can say something like, "Tell me in the comments, which room in your home would you love to transform first into this romantic old money style? Your bedroom, living room, kitchen, or entryway?" And if you're enjoying this cozy decor inspiration, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss more vintage home decor ideas, cozy cottage styling tips, and timeless elegant home inspiration. Your engagement helps build this beautiful decor-loving community, and I'd truly love to hear your favorite idea from today's video. At the end of the day, old money vintage home decor and romantic cottage interiors are about so much more than style. They're about creating a home that feels graceful, intimate, soulful, and beautifully lived in. A home where every detail tells a story. A home where elegance doesn't shout, it whispers. Whether you begin with a floral pillow, an antique lamp, a thrifted mirror, or an entire room makeover, remember this: timeless beauty is built slowly, lovingly, and intentionally. So let your home be soft. Let it be layered. Let it be personal. And most of all, let it feel like you. Until next time, stay inspired, stay cozy, and keep creating beauty in every corner of your home.